Somehow, Teddy Riley got a hold of my demo and liked my demo. I knew what I had to do.
I need a ride.
Son, we got church in the morning.
No, not now, Dad.
Where do you need to go, sweetheart?
Virginia Beach?
Virginia Beach. Son, that's 5 hours away.
It's 6. I checked. Plus, the train ride is like 12 hours, and I ain't got no money for that.
Where do you need to go to Virginia Beach for, son?
I sent my demo to this music producer named Teddy Riley. He dug it.
Oh, baby,
So?
that's great!
Hey, the audio's get connected. Okay.
Get it.
Okay. How you doing?
For the delay, I was working on, I'm scoring this Boy's Mind commercial thing right now. So
what I mean, the with the original singers or
yeah, they got a tour coming up. I don't know if you heard about the tour that's coming up. So
yeah.
working on the commercial for it right now.
Okay. Okay. What does that mean though? Because don't they have the original song? They just use it, or you want to re-record it, or
I have to like score it, so I have to make it fit the visualizer of there's an actual like trailer for the tour.
okay. Wow.
So I'm taking elements from the original, but I'm tricking it out so it can fit the concept of the commercial.
Wow.
Which I can't give that part away yet. But
Okay. Wow. I mean, what do you think about them touring? I mean, some 20 years from
I think it's amazing. Should have happened sooner.
yeah. I think Ray J called it though, but and everyone thought he was going crazy when he called it out last year.
He did. Yeah, he put it together. Yeah, that's true. I think him and Ryan Ramsey the ones that put it together. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it's best to start off to congratulate you with your nomination into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
When's the actual induction ceremony?
June 12th in New York City.
Okay. How do you feel about being inducted at one would say young, but I mean at this stage of your career?
I think I'm the youngest inductee from what they've been telling me.
Wow.
I mean, I'm for it. You know, I'm excited. I'm excited about the opportunity of it all, and it's an honor to be honored. So I'm humbled by that. My great mentor and dear friend Teddy Riley is going to be the one inducting me into the Hall of Fame. So I'm more excited about that, having the opportunity to spend some time with him and see him in New York, and it's going to be a great moment, you know. So still taking it all in. You know?
But when you think about it, reflecting on this young kid who drove down to Virginia with your dad. I mean, you have to give shout out to your dad for taking you down there, and then just hanging around, just waiting to get in. I mean, when you think back at those times, I mean,
yeah, it was definitely just it's full circle. You know what I mean? Just that moment, and then Teddy being inducted last year, and then me following up, and him inducting me in this year. It's just like, this is kind of just the most humbling experience. And, for me, just to make it that far from a kid from Jersey who, went in the car and waited in the parking lot for probably 7 to 8 hours just to meet the one producer that I just wanted to meet, and spend I just wanted to shake his hand, to be honest. And for him to be so gracious to give me the opportunity to play my music for him, and then spending pretty much that whole day there at Future Recording Studios and meeting his team, and and then being able to just spend a lot of days at Future and from Virginia Beach to New York with Teddy, and spend a lot of time around him and just learning somewhat the blueprint of what it takes to be in this industry. I'm super grateful and just humbled by it all. Yeah.
When you think of it, there are many people who stop by the studios, and we know about Pharrell and Neptune's. I was even surprised to hear that Missy and Timbaland were also there at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that you took advantage of what you being there.
I think what it was is that, first of all, I think everybody, it was different for me because Timbaland and Missy and Pharrell, they lived in Virginia.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Teddy's at the pinnacle of his career, just got off of Dangerous and whatever else, and all of these, I remember being in the studio with him when he was creating the My Love remix for Mary J. Blige with Heavy D coming in and doing. I remember those moments, like sitting right there watching it, him doing his different versions, per capella mixes, and all these different mixes he would do. And I was there watching it. But those guys like Pharrell, Tim, they lived in Virginia. So, you're in Virginia Beach and you see at nighttime that big Future Recording, sign, lit up. People are going to stop by there that live there for sure. But me, we came all the way from, it was a 6-hour drive from South Jersey, so it was a little bit different. They had the, if I lived there with, Teddy probably told me to go home. Probably would have told me to go home. But yeah, like, I'm just super grateful that I was able to just to have the opportunity to be under his wing and to see him create. It did so much for me in my career.
How when you went back home after being around John Marie and everyone, and hearing Teddy's work ethic and process, did that mean you go back home, and does it mean you work harder? Do you add a little bit more, or what does that do when you go back home after seeing him at his peak doing his stuff, and then you take what you've learned? What do you do differently?
I think it was just like, for me, like, I learned the process. I was so young. You got to remember, I'm so young. So nothing was, I never really experienced what a studio was at that level. Everything was in my dad's basement. The house we grew up in Pomona, New Jersey. So there's wires everywhere. There's like I had a 4-track machine, and I'm making it do 7 tracks. I had to make it flip to do 7 tracks. My MPC, which is still my baby, which is right here next to me, right? I'm sampling vocals in the MPC as the sampler for the vocals, and then flying them over and then trying to stack them again to make them thicker. I was doing all these little things at my house. And when I got to Teddy's studio, I'm looking at an SSL board every day. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing the master at work that, my brother would play so many different Teddy songs at the house and remixes, and I would sneak them at times. And so now that I get to him in his studio, I'm seeing like the professional stuff. And I'm seeing the professional where I'm seeing him record vocals with these artists. And so with that, it let me in on how it's supposed to be as a pro early on. So it paved the way, it carved out the way to when I get to Whitney and Mary and all these different people, because I seen it with my eyes. This is how you're supposed to work with them. This is how you're supposed to. And Teddy didn't play any games, by the way. Like Teddy's a producer's producer. So, you know, he wasn't the person that's just like telling somebody just go sing and you sound great. Oh, that's great. Do it. No, Teddy was like, no, do that again. No, that could be way better. Do it again and do it again. He's gonna push you, push you, and push you. So I learned that by just sitting there and watching. And I don't even think he knew at that time how inquisitive I was. I don't think he knew it. I think when he saw me, I think he just allowed me to be there because he heard something in my music that he resonated with. So I think he just was being a nice guy and was like, yeah, you can sit in, little bro, you know, you can sit in. He didn't know, like, my mind was going. Like, you know what I mean? I was soaking it all in. I was just like, nah, I'm absorbing everything. You can't get away with nothing right now. Everything, I'm taking it in. I'm taking it in. And I did. I learned so much. So much. You have no idea. I learned so much by watching it and seeing the process. And then, you know, seeing how hard he was working. That instilled in me that I have to work hard, you know. And I used to have a thing when I was that young. I was like, sleeping is not an option if you want to, you know, you can't sleep. So I was trying to outwork everybody that I was pretty much around, you know. And so I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful it happened that way. It could have happened there's many ways to get to your path, to your destiny, but it happened the way I would have drew it up. I would have drew it up that same exact way. I mean, what better way to the greatest producer listens to a demo tape and recognizes your music. You get in the car the next day and go 6 hours with your father. You sit in the parking lot for 6.5 hours. He doesn't show up. You go to Denny's, you come back, and then he's pulling up and he lets you in the studio to play your music. You couldn't ask for better.
Yeah.
A better. You know what I mean? Just couldn't be better.
Well, that's called favor, you know. You've spoken how much your faith is, and you know when God's making a way, you know, because it doesn't happen. I mean, and all the people who've been there, because so many people have passed through.
How I know it's that's the point. How I know it's real and how I know it's God's favor is because while I was there, I would witness other people come to the studio to try to get a moment, and it never happened.
Yeah,
I watched it where he was too busy. And nah, I'm sorry, but he's too busy right now. I'm sorry, he can't, you know, because a lot of people would just show up just to see him or meet him, you know, and that happened at my studio. Once I built the studio years later in Jersey, it was the same thing. People would come outside the gate and they would wait. They would wait for me to come out and they would, can I come? Can I play your music? So I know he probably dealt with that a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, again, it became like, okay, well, why me? You know what I mean? Is ultimately God has, you know, a purpose and a plan for our life, not to harm us, but to prosper us. And that was one of those moments.
Yeah, no, I mean, as I said, anything could have happened. What about because I remember you did the remix for Men of Vision. Is it Do Things or
Yeah.
Was that one of the very first that you did?
Oh no. So let me tell you something though. Do Things was second. This remix, that was second. Let me tell you what happened. Teddy, okay, so I don't know if I told you the story, but this is the amazing thing that happened. One day we're all in the studio. Teddy has 3 Quest vans. They're like these minivans. He has 3 of them. And I think one was like Markel's, one was like, but they were like studio vans, you know what I mean? Like they use really nice vans, but like really loud systems in it. And one day Teddy pulled up the studio and he just said, everybody grab your bags, grab your luggage. We're going to New York. By the grace of God, I was there when this happened. So everybody's scrambling, but nobody knows what's going on. We just know that Teddy wants to pull out about 5 o'clock that evening.
Wow.
Make it to New York by like 11 o'clock, 11:30 or whatever. So You got 10 guys grabbing suitcases, grabbing stuff, getting in these vans, and Teddy tells me to get in his van. So I'm in the van. It's just me, him, and his driver.
Wow.
Right? Just us in that van. And I'm in the back seat, and Teddy's listening to Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, and Thriller album all the way to New York. So me being around him and seeing his process, where when he had to do the Mary J. Blige remix for My Love, I saw him listening to Mary all day. Mm. So I'm thinking to myself, hold up. This, you know, like, I'm like, why does he listen to Michael Jackson so much? You know what I mean? Like, wow, like, what's going on? But I do know he said for Men and Vision to go to New York. He sent for Aaron and Damien to be in New York. So, wow. So I'm like, hey, everybody's going to New York. And so I'm just like, you know what? Whether it's Michael Jackson, I don't know. But in my mom's, it might be Michael Jackson. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's just listening to Michael Jackson. So anyway, he listened to music. So we get to New York. It's like 11:30 at night. We get to New York, check into the hotel, go to the hotel, go to my room. And I say about 1 a.m. after I checked in, I'm in my room. About 1 a.m, I get a call from Teddy. Hey, little bro, meet me in the lobby.
My goodness.
So I said, okay. So I go to the lobby, and we go to the van, and we head over to the Hit Factory. I'm thinking we about to do some work or something, you know. But mind you, I had never really worked with Teddy yet. Right? Like, I produced a song on Tony Thompson. I worked on stuff, but I had never did nothing with me and him, like physically, me on the keyboard or him on the keyboard, something like that. And we never did, like, but I watched. But, you know, anyway, I was like, all right, cool. So we going over to the Hit Factory. Next thing you know, we go to the Hit Factory, and it's just us. And who's in the room? Michael Jackson. And he introduced me to Michael Jackson. And I was like, you have no idea. And he was just like, and Michael was telling Teddy, Michael, I think, was working on, maybe it was the History album. And he was telling Teddy, like, you know, I just want your best stuff. And now he was doing his Michael talk. I know the Michael talk now after working with him, but I know the Michael talk. But, you know, but he was doing his Michael talk. And Teddy was like, I want you to meet this kid. And he introduced me. And Michael, the first time through Teddy, and I looked at Michael and I said, I'm going to work with you someday. And Michael laughed. He giggled. Teddy was like, nah, Michael, this kid got it. He got it, Michael. He got it. And he told Michael that. And I was just sitting there like, whoa. And then we left. And then the next day at the other Hit Factory, because there's 2 Hit Factories on the same street. And that was the new Hit Factory. At the old Hit Factory, the next day, Teddy was in the studio downstairs, and I was in a room, like a lounge. She set up equipment for me in a room in the lounge. Teddy was working with Guy and Damien. You remember the song?
Tell Me What You Like?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for New York Undercover, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for New York Undercover. So I go into the room, Andre Harrell's in there, and they're recording this song. And then Teddy goes, yo, they're going to set you up in the room upstairs in the lounge. I need you to work on something for me. I said, cool. So they set up my career. They set up all my equipment, And Teddy comes up in the lounge, and no joke, he goes just like this. He plays like these 4 or 5 chords. And he goes, these are the chords. Now you do the rest. And I was like, hold on, play it. I was like, play it again, Teddy, play it again. And he played the chords again. And then I got it the second time. And then I started working, and then Men of Vision, what was the lead singer, Spanky.
Yeah, yeah, Spanky, yeah.
Spanky came in, and then the rest of the crew came in, and we worked on Instant Love was the name of the
Oh,
song.
Instant Love, yeah.
Yeah, we did Instant Love, and that was it. That was my
Oh,
first meeting the guys, Men of Vision. That was my first time working on something with Teddy. And then later down the road, is when, now I have a relation. Now I've done Michael Jackson. So I've had a relationship with no, did I work? No, I didn't work with Michael yet. I'm sorry. I worked with Missy Elliott. So
mm,
down the road, I get a call to work with Men of Vision and do a remix for Do Things. And then I
mm.
get see Elliott to jump on it. And
Okay.
I'm in the video. We actually shot the
Yeah, yeah,
video.
yeah, in the video drop, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that really came about.
But I think, was there no pressure though? Oh, I mean, because what about his other, you had Mucho, Sprague, all these guys there, and he's telling you to do that. Are you not feeling, oh, are you not feeling pressure? Are you thinking,
Oh, I love
okay,
those guys. I love Mucho, I love Spragg. All those guys were just incredible, incredible people to me. And just they embraced me, man. Like, I think if anything, it's always going to be somewhat of a competitive nature when you're
mm,
around other producers and other people. But listen, Teddy embraced me. So they embraced me.
okay,
Me and Spragg and I, we had a great relate. Mucho, we play
mm,
stuff for each other all the time.
yeah. But that kind of favor that Teddy had for you, when I've talked to anybody, either Tim and Bob or even Carl Martin from Shy, they all say that Teddy is generous with his stuff. He doesn't hide. He doesn't, he'll probably say, yeah, this is the latest stuff. Unlike others who might just like, I don't want you to know what I'm doing because I need to have that leg up. But the fact that he can say this kid's going to work with you, we hear about the industry and we think everyone's trying to keep it to themselves. That's when you know if you've got favor. If he's seen something in you you probably couldn't see at the time. Yeah. The I mean, I saw you posted a clip of your it was supposed to be your biopic. What's going on with that?
Oh, it's funny. I don't know. One day we were sitting around, and one of my guys, Casey Washington, who was a dear friend and also a great creative person, sat down. He's like, "Man, you should do a story on your life." And like I could just see the whole you trying to get to Virginia Beach as the opening
Mm.
episode, and I was like, "Nobody want to see that." It was like, "What?" He's like, "No, I'm telling you, man. Like a lot of people would want to see that." So I said, "Really?" I said, "All right, bet." So I got busy and I started working on the script for it. And then it was crazy because right around what do you call it? COVID.
Oh,
We shot it during COVID. Like everything was shut down and we just shot a sizzle reel. I just wanted to see what it would look like if I were,
okay.
it was the more so if I were to do it.
Yeah.
What would it look like? What could it be? And then COVID happened, so we shot it. And then I was like, should I try to shop for a deal? And then I kind of held back from it. And I held back from shopping it. And then I just started teasing it and people loved it. People, I
Mm.
could see what people would think and people started loving it. Even Teddy hit me about it. It was like, yo, that's crazy dope. So I think I'm gonna pursue it. I think I'm gonna pursue the idea. You know,
Oh. So it
yeah, I
wasn't
think
that you filmed the whole stuff, because I actually thought you'd filmed it and you just get ready.
it
Oh,
was
that was
just
like a teaser.
it was a teaser. That's all it was. And I was just seeing how people will react to it. And people loved it.
Yeah. But then when you think of the one that Pharrell, I can't remember the name of his, but when you think about the one he came up with, you know, it, and that was sort of condensed and it was focused a lot more. from a different angle. But I think, the story that you might have told in like a biopic, but in many episodes, it would definitely be something that a lot of people would be interested in that journey. But it's and a story of resilience and story of faith as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Pharrell thing was more like a documentary, and I have something like I have documentary stuff too. But you talking about the one with the Lego thing?
Yeah, the Lego one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I felt like that was more like a creative documentary where what I was trying to work on was more like an actual TV series, like a
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought it was.
but actually like lighthearted. It was like it was
Oh,
almost
like Chris, what that's him. Everyone loves Chris.
exactly that was
Yes.
actually in it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So are you saying so for that stuff that could still happen, but it's just that you've seen it, there's an appetite for it. But then do you have to finance it yourself, or do you find investors, or do you go to studios, or how does that work then?
Yeah, I would try to do it. I mean, I mean, most people would probably try to go get investors and all of that, but I think I would something that I would probably want to own and a big stake in. So I probably would try to invest in it myself. And then the biggest thing is, I think when you're doing those kind of shows because they're music heavy, is making sure that you're able to license a lot of music. You know what I mean? And so
Okay.
sometimes the TV companies don't want to give good budgets for these type of things. So you hear like fake versions of like a fake version of My Prerogative or fake version of so and so, right? Like I wouldn't want that to be mine. I would if anything, I would want it to be a show where it's like, oh, that's my jam, that's my song from 1993.
Uh,
That 1993, that was my
yeah, yeah,
song.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think that's the way I would want to do it. So I think the music budget would probably have to be really enormous to be able to get a lot of stuff cleared for that.
Oh goodness. Yeah, but is it okay? So you couldn't, but you've got a team. You could easily recreate a track, couldn't you?
100%, like 100%. We had to do it when I did the Whitney bio, that movie. I had to do, a lot of recreations, but or sound like it has to be in the realm of. But I don't know. It's just something about, it's just something about the authentic version, like of, of a song. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Speaking of the Whitney bio, I mean, how did you think that went? I mean, your role was it to the songs that were sung there to produce them in the film, or did the scoring?
my role was both.
Wow.
Both. I had to score and I had to redo some of the songs that they didn't get cleared,
Okay,
like the Bobby Brown songs, for example.
okay, okay.
There were several Bobby Brown songs that I had to redo. And then there's a couple songs that had to be sounding like, oh, it had to sound like Toni, 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 but it couldn't be. It feels
Mm,
good to be in that realm.
okay.
Yeah.
How do you think the film went down?
I mean, I felt it was cool, but I would have. It's some things I would have preferred differently. I got brought in late to the game, and I think
Uh,
if I been brought in earlier, it would have been a lot different. But I got brought in very late, like literally I want to say the last few months after it was all shot. So
oh,
it's difficult when things are already shot for you to be able to go in and finesse and change certain things. As a producer, you're like, oh, I would have did that differently. I would have had her sing that differently. I would have did this differently.
yeah.
So, but
Did the lady, did she sing any of the songs, or did you have to get another vocalist to sing?
she sang a couple parts. She sang a couple parts, but a lot
Okay.
of it, a lot of it was Whitney's, original versions. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you going to get more involved with doing the film stuff, or was that
I mean, who knows if something comes around that makes sense, then I would, I always like doing things that are music related. You know, I can't see myself doing anything that's not really music related.
what then started the launching your own label? Is it Aliens?
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's my Christian hip hop division that we've created that I'm super excited about. The Aliens
Okay.
Alive. that I've been pouring a lot into this last year. We launched it last May, and it's been going really. I mean, it's exciting to see something that me and my son and my daughter pretty much in the car when they came up with the idea. It was
Oh.
really their idea. Them in the car and saying, "Dad, we should do this," because my wife and I we wanted to kind of just protect some of the things they were listening to.
Mm.
I just felt like hip hop was going a little bit too far with the integrity in
Mm.
music, and I was just like, man, what can they listen to? There's nothing really like out there for them to, they want to listen to hip hop, but and then my son was like, well, why don't we just create our own Christian hip hop?
Oh.
And that's how it was birthed, really. You know, really started with just an idea that came out of him and my daughter Heavenly, and then we took it from there and we just started working on, they were already listening to a lot, so they were like, Dad, there's an artist in Africa. I think we should sign him first.
Wow.
Then I would go and research it, check, and then we signed this kid from Africa, and then there's
But
another
what
kid from
country though? What particular country?
Zambia, I think it is.
Zambia. Okay.
No, it was in Zambia, I think Zambia, something like that.
Yeah,
So
Zambia. Okay.
yeah, so then then there's another artist from this part. There's another artist from here, and we just started getting into it. Now I think we have a label. We have about 7 artists signed to us.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a nice independent label. We pretty much we've done almost 300 million streams in our first year of operation, and a lot of it is just it's self-funded by me, and it's been more rewarding, I think, than anything I've probably in my whole career, because I feel like it's something that's impacting these young kids differently. So when I go to the concerts and I'm seeing like young youthful kids praising God through hip hop, I'm like, wow, this is like way different from where now mind you, when I was a young kid, I was gospel rapping. I was on my brother. I had a project with my brother called On the Move, and I was on his label. And so this is full circle for me. If anything, is very beginning stages of my me writing and producing was first. So this is full circle, but to see how it's actually impacting these young people's lives, like, and it's growing quickly, it's exciting. We're having a good time. We're having a lot of fun with it.
But how does that work? Because you said 300 million streams, and I guess it's hard to equate that for those of us who are used to somebody who's going platinum selling 1 million albums. But what does that really mean nowadays? 300 million streams and
300 million streams and an independent phone is my son right there. I was just talking about my son. My son
well
RJ.
done.
And my other son Royal. So those are my
Okay,
two,
the inspirations behind aliens.
right there. Yeah.
Okay, how you guys?
All right. All right. All right, buddy.
Yeah,
I think
300 million. Is that like, what is that like, going gold? Or I mean,
no, it's not even gonna go yet. Like that. I don't at least I don't think it is yet. But what it is it's when you're independent and you're doing something on your own, it's amazing, right? Because we're 700 million away from a billion.
yeah, it's true.
So that, you know what I mean? That I'm gonna be honest. That's kind of like where my goals are. Like my goals are like, whoa, until we do it, until everybody's like, yo, you're 300 did like 300 million already. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, it ain't a billion though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Once it, to put it into perspective, you know, it's a lot for independent. It is, especially in the first year.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's other labels that are independent that are in this space, and they might have done like 25 to 50 million in the last year. So we are the fastest growing independent Christian independent label in the country right now.
But how do you I mean, how do you occupy the artists? I mean, do you have to find them gigs to do? I mean, or is it just like you guys do all that? We're just going to focus on getting your music out. And what's the balance of what you do as a label for your artists?
I mean that's my team does all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, but yeah.
I have a full team staff, and they deal with the releases and making sure uh you know that they that they're not on top of each other. When we first started, just so you know, when I launched the label last May 27th last year, I launched it with 5 releases on the same day, purposely.
Okay.
So I have the artists that were signed, the 5 artists that were signed. I'm like, I want all of it to release the same day because I wanted our announcement to be like, we're
Wow.
here. This is the team. This is the roster. You know, anybody else would never do that. You know what I mean? But we did that, and then I think as we grew, we realized like, okay, now we just spread them out and kind of work on. We have so many. Sometimes somebody be like, I want to release on May 5th, and somebody else wants to release May 5th. So we're like, nah, you can't. You got to push that back a couple weeks or whatever. Let that person breathe. They're also all different, which is good. They're all unique in their own way.
Mm.
Some might be Afrobeat space, some might be, and they're all in these different spaces. So it allows they don't really interfere with each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about production wise? Are you heavily involved or do you have others that do it in?
A little bit, a little bit. I've done probably, man, out of all the releases, I think I've done maybe 2 or 3.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I've only done, and those were singles, but I've done probably yeah about 3 tops.
Okay. So you still
Yeah,
have a big team.
we have a big team. We have my studio here has 10 studio rooms in it.
What?
We have
Goodness.
we have a full on like production house as well. Um, and I think we have, like a lot of my artists, they're also they're also producers as well. So
Okay.
they're working themselves. They were independent, right? They were the ones in the bedroom making it all themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so we're embracing that too. Like we're really embracing like the creative part for our artists to be as creative as possible. We're not operating like the old traditional label where it's like, no, we're going to take over and you go sit down somewhere and we
Yeah,
do
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Nah, we're doing it. Absolutely, we're doing it artists first. They have creative control. We give them ownership in the masters. Like all the things that you wouldn't think a label's supposed to do is, or you think a label's supposed to do is what we're doing. We're doing it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, that's I mean, is the motivation to yeah, I mean, yeah, as I said, you want everyone to be able to succeed and be able to have a living in there, but there's no pressure on you to say, yeah, we need to go 1 billion so that we can yeah recoup a lot of money back and stuff like that.
It was never about the money. It was about kingdom. It was about it was about the youth losing. We're losing youth to music that we shouldn't be losing youth to.
Mm.
And so, how can we make a difference and impact and put some stuff in there out there that would uplift God
Yeah,
and you still be fun and cool,
yeah,
and so it was never about that. Like, to be honest, if it ever made a bunch of money, I'd probably give it all away anyway. Probably give it artists and give it to, wherever God leads me to give to. It was never about that. If that was the case, I would own all the masters. I don't own a master.
wow.
I did it in a way, it's me giving back. It's like I said, it's kingdom building.
Wow. I mean, I still remember Winans Face too. I rocked that CD. Was that you rapping on it?
How'd you know?
I rocked that CD for a long time until I was like, man, why can't we get more of this stuff, you know?
Yeah, we need it. And I'm going to, by the way, I'm going to expand this. Right now it's starting as Christian hip hop, but it's going to expand probably not this year, but next year. Then I'm going to get more into like what you just said, like the more of the cool minus phase 2 type stuff. And then
Yeah,
that's when I'll step in as the producer more. So
yeah.
I need to build it a certain way first.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I was like, my vision was always, and even sometimes I didn't mind when you might not mention God. It's like if I wrote different genuine differences, my whole life has changed since you've come in. I mean, that is a song to Christ. but without really saying it. But there's then if I'm writing it from that point of view and somebody's singing it, I know the spirit behind the song, and it has a difference when people are listening to it. I mean, there were many examples like that that I thought about, but I think sometimes Christian artists had to, if they don't put in God or Jesus in a song, they don't feel as if it's right. And I'm like, love, Christ is love. So you sing a love song, it is ultimately about him. Um, Lord of the Rings is about the Christ and darkness, but they don't make it as obvious, but it's about light and things. And so I think we're not as brave with our music, and I don't know, you as a producer, Christian, do you feel the challenge that the church wouldn't embrace if you just didn't mention Jesus in a song?
Of course, I mean, especially the church I grew up in. You know, we grew up Jesus, everything. But by the way, I'm actually pushing that more for our artists when they signed to Aliens Alive when we started the label. I think that's what threw everybody off was me telling them like I was like, no, I want you to say Jesus more.
Okay.
Like, huh? They were like, huh? Because they weren't used to that. They were like, why? Why do you want? I said, because I think where he be lifted up, he draws all men.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So to me, why be if the Bible says I'm ashamed of man who's ashamed of me.
Yeah.
So let's be very intentional about the name of Jesus in the music that we create. And so, I think that, that doesn't scare me. That's not one thing that I'm not one of these labels where it's like, no, don't say it because you're not going to get on the radio. I'm actually the opposite. I'm like, say it loud and say it proud. And, I believe I'm always into barrier breaking anyway. Like
Mhm.
if we just do some stuff that maybe it'll break some barriers and people will embrace it differently. And I think people are ready for that right now. I
Yeah,
do.
but you talk about hip hop and I guess hip hop is a lot different than say R&B, and I guess people listen to hip hop differently, and they like the stories, they like um the struggle and the battle that people are going through when we listen to hip hop. DMX can do a prayer, and everyone would just be like in awe back in the day. So I think it's really unique. Lecrae does extremely well when he does his with his type of music. So I guess yeah, I think that's different than when you were singing R&B, um, and I think that's where I used to think people should be brave and just focus on the love element of it. But I guess it's, as I said, different with the hip hop. Um, that said, though, I think the other question I had really was when you think about Ombre. I know you worked with Scissor. I know that did you? I can't remember who you just recently who you just recently come worked on. I saw it.
Probably
Uh,
Raye.
yes, Raye from the UK.
Yeah.
Yes. She's like an Amy Winehouse, but in a different way. What is that like, coming here and working with somebody that's just recently been celebrated for her creative breakthrough?
It always refreshing. I'm gonna tell you the most refreshing thing. The refreshing thing for me is there's a lot of artists that just don't interest me anymore. There's a lot of
Oh,
artists that when I get called and asked, you want to actually like literally stop working with a management group because I think they felt that I was just turning down everything. And it just wasn't agreeing with my spirit to work with certain projects anymore. So I had to start looking at things differently, and being careful of what I work on
mm,
as I'm working on myself. And and when I worked with Raye, it was refreshing because I was, the first song I did with her was called Genesis, and we literally opened up the Bible and talked about let there. If you listen to Genesis, the lyric about let there be light, everything was written from a biblical perspective. And I just had Raye here last week, and the same thing happened again. where she came here, and I do this thing in my studio now called Worship Alive. And we basically bring in musicians and we just worship for like 2 hours, and I read scripture, and I do it every couple of weeks. And she was here, and I did like an improv one with her in the band. I just brought a band in, and I let her just rock out with the band, but she started with worship music. And then that led into the creativity of the songs that we started creating.
Wow.
So it's refreshing to be on the same page creatively and to be able to do that. And yeah, it's just where I'm at spiritually right now. You know, I'm at that place where, again, I'm working on myself, so I'm being very mindful of things that I choose. There was a young artist that Ellie Reed has, and they called me about working on him, and I was like, "So is he gonna do what I want him to do?" And they're like, "Well, what are you gonna want to do?" I said, "I'm probably gonna want to do like a Christian song." And they're like, and I was like, "Yeah, if he comes here, he's probably gonna end up doing that because this is the page we're on right now." And so everybody's kind of thrown off, like, but then when they come here and they experience my studio and they see when we do the work, they're like, "Whoa, like we've never seen nothing like this." So I'm just, again, I'm just being very, picky about certain things that I work on right now. You know what I mean? I can't tell you this. I can't tell you there's certain projects I would work on again, just based on where I'm at spiritually. And it's not that my songs, you go throughout my catalog, you're not going to find bad songs. I've never been associated with bad songs, right? Meaning like where the lyric is just like, whoa, why? That's just not, who I am. But I will say that like a lot of times you'll do a song, and when you finish the song, you're like happy and you're like, yeah, the song came out great and you're applauding. But then the visual that comes out for the song is not what you imagined for the song. So and you have no say so when it comes to that part. So that's why I'm actually being very careful of that.
But I mean, what changed was, I mean, because that's, it's a sense of, what profits a man to gain the world but lose his soul. But what has changed that you actually then said, okay, I need to be mindful of what I'm sowing into this world.
I think that I think my goals change. I think for 30 years of my career, my goal has always been earthbound, earthly. And I think I've come to a place where like my goal is heaven now. And I think in order for one to really make it into heaven, it's not about being a great producer. It's not about being a good person. It's about committing yourself to Christ and doing his will and in him and fully giving yourself to him. And with that comes some serious sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right? Because he sacrificed for us when he died for our sins. So we don't get to just live life and think we don't sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then I've always growing up in church, people automatically think because you grow up in church that you have a ticket to heaven, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
Growing up in church doesn't mean you're going to heaven. Having a relationship with Christ and know that you're doing his will, that's the ticket to heaven. And that's something that I feel for myself I have to strive for every single day.
Yeah.
Right. And knowing is growing. And so I feel like I'm in the know now. And because I'm in the know now I'm actually starting to grow a little bit. And I think the closer I get to God, the more he removes some of the boulders and the things that was blocking that relationship for so long. Because the industry makes us lift ourselves up and pump our chests up and this and that, right? That's what the industry does. It makes us want it makes us want to be that. So I think, between you and I, like I'm not on social media. I haven't been on social media for 2 months now. Right. So a lot of this is me detoxing from things that to me are just just don't spiritually lift me up.
Mm.
You know, I have people that just they run my stuff. I don't know how it's operating the way it's operated. I got a great team, Beyonce and Sabrina. They're great, a great team, but they'll tell you like I'm just super laser focused right now,
Mm.
and I have to be, and I have to be because, like I said, there's an ultimate goal, and you have to sometimes. I learned this like with sacrifice, you start to really see life differently. And so with the sacrifices that have been made, I'm actually starting to see my closeness with God to a different level.
Mm.
Right. I'm seeing my relationship grow, and I'm seeing there's a responsibility that he's placed on my life with other people. And as I'm looking at you, right behind you is a lake. And my studio sits on a lake. And every now and then I see these fishes jumping up as I look out the window. And it's a reminder that that's really what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be fishing, right? There's a lot of lives that need to be caught for Christ. And so I have to, he said we'd be fish to be a fisherman. So I'm just trying to, I'm very careful in, again, the music that I don't, you wouldn't even, you'd be so surprised if you knew what I woke up and I listened to and what I went to sleep listening to every day, and just my everyday listening, you'd be surprised. There's no artist in R&B or pop that you can probably ask me about. I probably couldn't tell you about. I wouldn't even know.
But it's okay. You're removed from.
I wouldn't even know. I could tell you about some worship artists and Christian artists all day long. I can tell you about Brandon Lake Elevation. I can tell you about Maverick City, Naomi Rain. I can tell you about Chandler Moore. I can tell you about Chris Brown. I can tell you about all of these. Chris Brown, the worship leader.
Okay.
I can tell you
Okay.
about all that. But I can't really tell you if you say, yo, Rodney, who's the top five pop artists, right? I couldn't tell you. And there's no, thing against them. It's just where I'm at in my life.
Wow.
2 years ago, I could have told you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A year ago, I could have told you. I probably could have told you a year ago. But
Wow.
right today, I couldn't tell you.
Wow. It's I now got to a point at the end of the year last that I said, Lord, I'm ready to, I've done this for 4.5 years. I'm ready to stop. And yeah, and it was almost that Abraham's sacrifice. Are you ready to give it up? And he knew my heart. I was tired. I said, yeah, I'm tired. I'm ready to give it up. And then after about a month, he says, no, continue. But I knew that it's one of those things where it wasn't it had to be a case where is this my life? Do I value this more than him? And and I think there is a drawing about getting back into listening to worship, because it's, what are you feeding of? You're reading the word, but what's coming through your ears? What's building you in? Um, Anyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So it's getting into heaven isn't as difficult. But then what he showed me a while back was, but then there's an inner court. And so here in the UK, we've got a king. And so I'm a British citizen, but I can't rock up to Buckingham Palace and hang out with the king. And he says, so most people, yeah, you're a British citizen, you've got your passport, you can fly in and out, but you can't hang out with the king. But there are people who are close to him. But that's what Paul kept saying, that I strive, I strive, I strive. Is like, I want to get close, and I want to do all the work now so that when I'm in eternity, I'm in that inner circle. And so that's the mission. That's being close. That's the payoff. It isn't just getting into heaven. It's like it's spending eternity in the inner courts and right next to him on those thrones close to him. And that takes the sacrifice now. Um, but most of us, and I think
Yeah.
my challenge was always that church was really about enjoying now, sow and you'd reap and make the money here and God's going to bless you and all that. And so it became very centered onto the here and now, and not really the work that, if you read Paul's what he talks about and advocates is completely different from what we hear in our most modern day churches. And so that's the dilemma. So for you, especially in an industry that is very much of a
And
self-elevation.
I think that part too, just like being able to now just focus on his word without the hoopla, without the church hoopla, like without the noise of
Yeah.
the prosperity messages and all the
Oh
different
God.
things I've heard for so long. And it's like, I just want to be taught. I just want to be taught what his word says, and I want to be able to disciple others, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm just grateful that it's happening in this season of my life.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I'm glad that, I'm able to see it differently now. Just to
Yeah.
see, so yeah, whatever happens, like they joke around, like my team, like my door says Reverend Dr. Darkchild on the door. They joke around, but hey, listen, wherever God leads what we're doing, man, I'm just all for it. That's all.
But then being the fact that your dad, Bishop, was there, I would assume there was always a need for somebody to take on being on stage and giving and preaching. Was there ever, but that was, I mean, I guess yours was the music side, but does that ever think that that might be, you may go in and be on stage and,
I've spoken at my dad's church, like I speak there. I think in 3 weeks I speak at my dad's church. I'm just not the big like I'm not him. I'm not the moaner, the guy that's gonna be. And God told me
no,
that.
no, no, don't do
I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna tell the organist to give me an A sharp or A flat. I'm not. I'm just gonna literally speak what the word says. I'm gonna, I'll be more of a teacher than I would probably be a preacher.
Yeah.
Um, just like I just read scripture and then able to interject some stories in between and some testimonies, But I just love the word, and I love that it's so real, right, to our lives. And that
Mm.
when we really imply it and listen, it's like we have a cheat code because it's like a manual,
Yeah.
right? Like we see stuff that happen, events that we see happen in the world, we can go and be like, oh God, clearly was showing that in his word years and years ago,
Yeah.
see certain things play out as a Christian, you're not surprised. If
Mm.
anything, like you're like, I'm waiting for this moment to happen. I'm waiting for
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the exciting to me, the exciting part about being a Christian is being able to see like the word play out, and to know that it's factual, and to know that it's real, and to know that it's tangible. Like that's the part I love about it.
Yeah, but also the thing that you mentioned about, which especially with your label. So I'm as a therapist, but I supervise other therapists and who supervise other therapists, and I impart this knowledge about how to treat a young patient as if, nothing else matters. Let's just understand them. And so it changes the impacts the lives of kids, even though I don't see them directly. And being a fisherman, but you may not stand on stage all the time. But if you're impacting your producers, your team, and your artists, and then they're going out and taking the same mantle of what Paul was saying to Timothy, and then Timothy passing it down, all of a sudden that's the level of discipleship through in that area. Because yeah, there's you can't produce everybody, but if you're raising producers who also have kingdom in mind, and then an artist who also having that, and then they start raising, that's the generational, that's sowing kingdom, which I think sometimes we don't see within the church. The church is, I built this and I'm building it, then when I retire I'm going to pass it on to my child, and hopefully they'll continue our legacy instead of, let's raise disciples so they can go out and expand. And it's not mine; it's the kingdom's. So that's great to see. As I said, you've got it. You only did 3 tracks. I would have thought you did all the tracks and like, yep, let me just do it this way and stop. But then That's faith is
Just
like,
like
yeah, I can trust that God's gonna do the work, but I don't have to do it directly.
yeah.
Yeah. What about
It's
your
funny
son,
when
your kids? Are
to
they
like the whole.
producing as well then?
Oh yeah, yeah. My oldest now, he's got the bug big time. I had both of them actually. My youngest too.
I know your daughter sings
They both
and
got the
she's
bug.
playing.
She sings but yeah, but they both got the bug. All my kids got the bug. All four of them. They all come here all the time and work on ideas. It's really amazing to see it. But I was going to tell you, I was like, last week we had a worship alive thing in our studio, and one at the end I asked anybody did they want prayer for anything, and this young kid, probably about 13, 14 years old, he said, yeah, mental health. He said, and 2 Timothy 1:7 tells us that God didn't give us a spirit of fear,
Mm,
right? But of love, of power, of love, and of love and a sound mind.
mm,
And I think we have to give scripture. We have to stand. We have to stand. We have to stand on God's word. We have to stand on it.
mm.
Everybody's situation is different,
Yeah.
and people go through different things. But one thing we know is that God is a God that does not lie,
Mm,
and and actually, I think He enjoys healing. He enjoys healing. Like I think the same way I enjoy making music, He actually enjoys healing. But
yeah.
with healing, with healing comes again sacrifice,
Mm,
right? And people sometimes they don't realize that. They'll say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, it's not what I mean by it, it's what God's word means by it. Healing comes with sacrifice because He clearly has, when He was healing so many different people throughout His journey, um, the woman with the issue of blood, or the woman at the well, like when He healed, if you listen to the last thing after He healed them, what He said was, now go sin no more.
mm,
So the
mm,
sacrifice, so what He did was he aligned that the pain or the struggle, whatever it was that they needed to be healed for, was connected to the sin,
mm,
right? And so the sin is what bounds everything up. The sin is what
mm,
creates the mental health issue. The sin is what creates all of these different things.
mm,
And so, but when we go to God for healing, and when He heals us, He wants us to leave the sin alone so we can live in our freedom.
mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even when I treat whether it's anxiety or depression or whatever it is about changing their life, changing what they're doing, and it is connecting with family, connecting with loved ones, because so that it is about a change and a
But
truth.
here's the thing about it. Some people don't have loved ones. You got some people who don't know their family.
Mm,
They don't have a relationship with their father, with their mother. They don't have, uncles and aunts around anymore. Like, there's some people that don't have that.
yeah.
So what's the advice to those? My advice, I'm not your therapist like you are. Well, my advice would be Jesus loves you. And to know Him is to be loved. And there's
Mm,
no love, and there's no love greater.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I work for the government, so it's quite hard to preach. But it is about restoration. And it is about teaching them about connecting, because that's part of what happened in today's society. Is everyone is in a silo, and the
Yeah.
kids and people who have the best recovery are the ones who have the strongest connection, and they can easily stay and grounded. But yeah, those isolated ones, I find connections, whether it's in schools or churches or somewhere, connect and let that love bind you up. But yeah, I mean, are you doing more than one song with Raye then? Because you said she came, you did the worship, and you just started being creative. Is there a project we should expect?
I don't I don't know yet. Like, we just did a lot. I just know that she was here for the whole week. The first day with the band was like 9 or 10 ideas. And then
Wow.
we have to kind of go through all of those and pick out the ones that we feel are, of course, the best ones. And I think this was very different this time than from when I worked with her when I was in London the first time.
Mm.
Uh, so, hopefully, it'll be at least a couple from there that we choose from. But I always enjoy working with Raye because I just think that she has a pure heart, uh, and just a great family. Her family, her mom, her dad, her sisters, all talented people. You know, and to see someone so young love music so much, like she loves music, and she really does. Like she's I think she's the most challenging artist other than maybe I used to think it was Michael Jackson then Beyonce. Now I think it's Michael Jackson, Raye, then Beyonce.
Wow.
I think as an artist that really gets in and really challenges the song and challenges themselves. Yeah, she's definitely one of those ones.
Wow. Now, I don't know, Beyonce probably sent you a few of the questions that some of the viewers asked.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So Peabody Black asked them, what are your thoughts on the music today compared to how it was in the 90s? Um, yeah, that was I know you
You really want me to answer that?
yeah, well, I think
Who asked that
so it's
question?
Peabody Black.
Peabody Black. Peabody Black. I mean, it's quite evident that no music was better than the era of the 90s. I'm a little bit maybe I would say neck and neck, maybe the Motown era in the
Okay.
night, like neck and neck. As far as just an era of great music and style, I'm gonna go with the Motown era in the 90s. That's the greatest eras of music. Um, I just think that there's a reason why. I just think that the substance of it is the reason why. I think technology, even though I'm a big technology person, but I think technology hurt our industry in many, many ways. I think in the 90s, the producer, the songwriters, the artists were all in the studio together, creative. Now I think a lot of what you hear today is file sharing. A lot of
Oh.
a lot of what you hear today is, if you look at charts, you'll probably see tens and 15 people's names on one song.
Yeah.
It means it's just file sharing going on all around. Let's see this person with this person going. Let's send it to this person. See what the labels don't even operate in a real way of A&R anymore. So I'm grateful that I was able to learn from like Andre Harrell and come up in that day to see like, Jimmy Iovine and Clive Davis and, just what A&R really was, and working with the artist directly as a producer, that just not many do that anymore. I mean, do it anymore.
I think his follow-up question was what do you think is your biggest musical challenge in 2025, 26?
That part. I think my big musical challenge would be the file part, sending out the files and just working directly with the artist. I think we need to get back to that.
Or like getting people like like you said with Raye, I mean the
Like
difference,
Raye, exactly.
that sounded like when Jimmy talks about when Janet came for the Control album, they just hung out, listened to her and wrote songs based on everything she said. And that's
Exactly.
why it's one of my favorite albums. And yeah, you're saying just connecting like that.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, when you're trying to work, I mean, that's why we have so many iconic artists, right? Because those iconic artists got in the studio with a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you know what I mean? With a baby face and L.A. Reid and Teddy Riley and, you know, Devontae Swing and all the great producers, Timberland, the Neptunes. These are all people that worked with the artists. Now, if you ask most of the producers today, have you even met the artist that you have number one song? And they'll be like, nah, I just sent the files.
Yeah.
Well, that to me affects the approach of the song.
Yeah.
As a producer, a lot of it is when you're someone is sitting right here, you're able to create on the spot of where you think it should go. But when you send those files out now, they have total autonomy to do whatever they want to do. And
Wow. Joe and Annie Johnson said, ask him how he got introduced to working with Brandy on the Never Say Never album. Because for them, that was an amazing album, and they're thanking you for that album. How did that connection come out with Brandy?
it really started because of I Can Love You, Mary J. Blige. So
Oh,
it's funny how certain songs lead to the next song. So the Things You Do by Gina Thompson got the attention of Mary J. Blige.
Mm.
So that led me in the studio to work with Mary. I Can Love You got the attention of Paris Davis, which was Brandy's A&R.
Okay.
And he got a hold of me and asked me to meet Brandy when I was in LA for a meeting. And I met with Brandy, and we went to the restaurant, and then we left that restaurant because it was too noisy. We ended up going to Jerry's Deli, and we were in there, and we talked about music. And next thing you know, the next day I was in the studio 5 days in a row, and we did 5 songs that all of them were on Never Say Never, Never Say Never, Learn the Hard Way, Angel in the Skies, and Happy. Those are like the first 5 songs we did. And then we just started doing more. Then came The Boy's Mind and Sitting on Top of the World, and a couple more. So super grateful for just that Paris Davis, connected us to do that. Again, it goes back in the day when A&Rs were real A&R.
Yeah.
That vision, right? He heard something in I Can Love You that said, this is the guy that Brandy should work with.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Brandy wasn't okay. She was fine with Keith Crouch.
But that's what I was gonna ask you. How did, because I actually love that debut album with Keith. I thought
nothing wrong with Wanting to Be Down and all those Baby 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 and all those great songs that they had, But Paris came on after that. He wasn't the A&R for that.
Okay.
He came on, he had a different vision, and I think he wanted her to hit a little bit more some hip hop sonics on top of R&B stuff. So that's what I think. Keith was more funk driven.
But a lot of people, that was their favorite album. I mean, that was their favorite album. And I wonder, did you ever speak to Keith Crouch? Did he ever say, was there any awkwardness about you just took over?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I think they might even, I'm pretty sure they're related somewhere, something like that.
Okay.
I think Keith and Brandy are related somehow.
Okay. So it wasn't that he took it personal and
No, not at all. If anything, I put him on the Full Moon album. So if you go on the Full Moon album, there's a song on Full Moon produced by Keith Crouch, because I'm the one that said we need Keith on this album. Again, it goes back to just respect, like,
yeah.
What I mean, like, just homage, like, yo, we need Keith on this album. But I've always been a fan of Keith. I thought he was a really good producer.
I know that when I spoke with Brian Alexander Morgan, he mentions that Rain was supposed, that they initially approached him to write it for Brandy, but then it didn't make the album.
Never heard that. That's listen, man. If anything I've heard true, I've never heard that. And I've said this to, I believe I've said it to him before. Yeah, I did. I actually hit him after I heard you speaking to him about it. I said, bro, because they made it seem like I didn't approve it or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was how it came across. That no, that you
No. I've never heard Rain for Brandy. I'm one thing is I'm a person who listens to music and loves music. Mm-hmm. When I heard He Is by Warren Campbell, I knew that was supposed to go on Brandy's album. Right? If I would have heard Rain, what I did hear that I pushed for that never made it on made it on the album, and I thought it should have been on the album, was a song that Brian Morgan did. He remade a Kansas song. What was that big song by Kansas? Hold on. What's that big song by Kansas? Dust in the Wind.
Okay.
And Brandy cut it. So you can ask him about that.
Okay.
I heard that one. Because I was pushing for that to go on the Full Moon project. It did not make it on the album. But Rain, I think Brian Morgan might have presented Rain before I came on to Never Say Never. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, yeah, probably was, yeah.
I was going to ask Paris Davis about it because I'd had no clue about that song ever,
Mm,
other than SWV. So I was going to ask Paris did he get it from, you know, because I would have chose Rain way quicker than I probably would have chose some of those poppier songs that like the David Fosters and those songs that went on the
yeah,
album. You know,
yeah.
that like the other song, Truthfully, like that was cool that
Mm,
Harvey Mason did, right? That was
yeah,
cool. Wasn't better than Rain. I would have chose Rain all day long. I
yeah.
don't know I don't know where he got, but I talked to Brian about that. He said that one of the A&Rs, one of Brandy's old A&Rs from when she did, it was the one who said that, but that is so not the case.
Yeah. Um,
Don't connect me to the lies.
no,
Connect me.
no, but that's good that you cleared it up because, but I would
Oh, yeah.
imagine it wasn't. I think maybe the A&R says no. We've got we've got Rodney on the album, so and you know they first paid him to do it, and then when you two came
And
on,
oh, and by the way, I didn't have full autonomy. By the way, I didn't have full autonomy.
mm.
So even though I was an executive producer of Never Say Never, I was still scratching and crawling and trying to make it because it was if that was the case, if I had full autonomy, I would have did the whole album myself.
Okay,
I, but I clearly didn't because you have David Foster, you have Harvey Mason, you have maybe like three or four other people on the project.
yeah.
But but yeah, if I think something had happened. I don't know, but it sounds like that song probably got to the A&R and the A&R just
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they said I think yeah, that's probably where
now.
it was.
And if I was him, I would never. And if I was him, it doesn't even matter because it ended up where it was supposed to end up.
Yeah.
It's it's a classic with SWV.
Eden Jr. says we would love to know what happened to So Plus.
So plush.
So Plus.
But yeah, yeah. I
They said
mean,
the album was excellent.
oh, thank you so much. That album, it was a good album. I was not. That was a really good album actually. But we were just in a situation with the record company where we couldn't get out the gate with it. There was a lot of there was a lot of politics at that time coming off working coming after Michael's project and Epic and Sony. It was just a lot of politics. So we never really I think it might have got leaked or something,
Wow.
which just never got pushed. It never got out the gate really. But it was a good album. It's a good
Yeah,
album.
that's what he says. And he said, "What's your favorite Darkchild remix?"
Wow. Um wow, Darkchild remix. I mean, I mean, I don't have a really a favorite, but I probably when I did no one else took my total was
Mm.
Foxy Brown, Little Kim and the Brat. That
Oh,
was one of my favorite. You
okay.
know, first remixes when I first started. Like that was one of my first ones. That was good. I mean, I had a couple of remixes I like. That one, I like the one I did with New Edition. I like, of course, Vanessa Williams because it was so different from the original.
Mm.
So the way that you love was so like, opposite of what the original was. And I
Oh,
think so. That was all. So I'll tell you
wait.
my favorite remix. I'll tell you my favorite. Hold on, I'll tell you my favorite
Go
remix.
ahead.
My favorite Taste Your Love by Horace Brown.
Which one?
Taste Your Love by
Taste Your
Horace
Love.
Brown.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I did the ballad remix. I did a ballad remix. So good. Really cool.
I mean, and I think that we had a debate because we when we did the battle producers, and they're like, "Oh, are you not going to put any remixes?" And I said, "No, we just want the original stuff." And but there's a sense that actually remixes are actually as hard to do as originals. But and so, guys, I mean, where do you stand on remix when you like when Teddy did a say Jane Child or when he did the My Love remix? Is it like almost stripping it out and redoing it, or do you think it
Yeah, I mean some remixes, some remixes are stripping it completely into rawest form, a cappella, redoing it. Some remixes are pulling up certain files and then just adding to it, or you hear like extended versions or different versions where it might be a little bit touched a little bit but not much. And then some remixes are a completely new song where you just literally have an imagination and you take the title and just run with the title and just do a whole new version. So it just depends on what what your creative is saying. The Human Nature remix that Brian Morgan says All Star did that. I'm like, we know Teddy's drums when we hear it. We know his EQ. I know his EQ. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that All Star didn't have the idea for it, but I know Teddy Riley can get a Michael Jackson sample cleared quicker than anybody, right at that time. And I know that, and I know his EQ and his drums. I know certain sounds that he uses that no one uses. The way his finger snaps with the snare and all of that. I know. So we can't just discredit someone and say, nah, this person didn't know. That's not the case. You can't do that. You can say they worked on it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a collaboration on it, but But remixes to me are fun because it gives you a chance to just like think out the box a little bit on what you think, a song should be,
Yeah.
So I always like listening to like, like the So Into You remix, where it's kind of like a combination to me, like the Teddy remix on So Into You SWV is kind of a combination of Roughneck by MC Light, those type of drums,
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite remix, with Akil doing check one, check rapping, and yeah.
Mine, I'm biased though, but mine is still My Love by Mary J. Blige because I was there. I watched it real time, so I'm biased with that.
Yeah,
And when I listen to the original and see how much different it is,
I hated the original. It's just like
me too.
Yeah, it was like
when I listen to it, and I'm like, and hear what Teddy did with the chords, and I'm just like, whoa, like
yeah,
he made me like a record, like
yeah. Okay. Colin says, what are MJ's top 5 Darkchild songs? I mean, did Michael ever tell you what his favorite songs that you've done?
Did he? No, we never really talked about that type of stuff. Like we talked about in the moment, we talked about like In the Club by 50 Cent.
You serious?
Mike like 50 Cent's delivery, the way he delivered his rap. We talked about Biggie a lot. Mike was a big Biggie fan. And
I like This Time Around, when Biggie's rapping This Time Around, and that was off History, and then
but Michael talked about like he talked about songs by other people in the different textures of what he liked about the song to make us study. So with me, like he would say, listen to the lush harmonies on How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees. Listen to the funkiness, how funky Sly and the Family Stone, how that the groove. Listen to the funkiness of Rhythm Nation. That's how he would like talk. He never really just been like, oh, I love this song, my song, so that was my song. I love the song you did. He never talked like that with me. It was more so he would just point out certain things that he liked about a person's voice or the bottom end of something or the way the snare hit on something, like that. It's kind of like how he talks.
There was a biopic or so, and in it seems that Michael said he loves Prerogative by Bobby Brown. I'm not sure if you heard about.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, that was on his playlist actually. He did
Are
have
you
a
serious?
playlist. Yeah, he had a playlist that he gave me. I probably still have it around here somewhere. Actually, I have a whole DAT case, and I bet you I have it. And on his DAT was like these 10 songs that he would pull like inspiration from. and it was like the Bee Gees, How Deep Is Your Love,
Mm.
My Prerogative, Bobby Brown, the um, I'll Be Sure, Night
Night
and
and
Day.
Day.
Yep, that was on there. Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, Sly and the Family Stone, James Brown, and it was like maybe one or two others.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is funny because Kyle West, when I interviewed him, said that when Teddy heard Night and Day, he says, yeah, that's the Michael Jackson kind of vibe. And so they went for that Michael Jackson vibe. And so the fact that he actually recognized it, and that's wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Colin, he did say that. Okay. Now, Big Mike asks, are there any hit songs that artists passed on that or were originally supposed to be for?
Always. Always. There's always unreleased. There's always songs laying around that you go back to and be like, man, why didn't that come out? Or why wasn't that, And it could have just been like you created it you gave it to the wrong artist.
Mm.
A lot of times as producers, I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make is when we create a song that we think is specific for someone.
Mm.
And then if they don't take that song, we don't shout that song. And it goes in the back burner. And it's not, instead of having a story like, yeah, I did that for so-and-so, they didn't take it, but I gave it to them, now it's a hit. I don't really have many of those type of stories because I would just throw the song to the left if no one took it. I was just like, oh, well, I'm not giving it to them, just put it in the trash or
whatever. Well, thinking about that, I heard an interview recently with Shanti Moore, and she mentioned about JLo had the song that you did for her that JLo took it to. And I was like, what, Rodney? What happened?
It's two sides of every story. The Bible says it's two sides of every story. But we laugh about that now.
Well, it just came out recently, and I saw it.
Yeah, well, she says that we gave her song to J-Lo. It wasn't that we gave her song to J-Lo, is that there was a similarity in the hook lyrically, and I think what happened was the record company didn't make a deal for the song. So we did it, or maybe they did, They maybe they did do a deal for the song. If I can remember, it's hard for me to remember. That was early in my career. When Louis Silas was the one who hired me for that. But I joke about it now because I'm like, can you imagine like how many Babyface songs that we listened to that we were like, wow, that song sounds just like so and so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you listen to the Roses Are Red, and you can listen to the Boys Dial My Heart. So you can, but their songs in the 80s all sounded very similar.
Yeah, but I think it was the competitive thing, and then the J-Lo thing blew up like really big.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, Tommy was trying to get revenge on Mariah, so he put a lot of money in pushing J-Lo, and so made sure it was a hit. And I think MCA didn't had too many artists that they couldn't invest as much in Shanti. So I would think if it's the label that pushed it, they spent a lot on J-Lo and they made their money on that. But if they were both on different labels, you probably should, it could have seen. But it was just interesting to hear. Okay. Now, Tanya is saying that you mentioned that you recorded some tracks with Kenny Green, and I guess it just took us by surprise. Well, how did that even come about?
Yeah, I remember. So when I was like 14 years old,
14,
Kenny used to come. Yeah, when I was 14 years old, there was a guy in Philadelphia named Mark Byers, and Mark Byers was working with Kenny Green and intro and all of that. And this is before Strung Out on Your Lovin', before I actually did a song on intro. And Kenny Green and I were supposed to be writing partners.
Wow.
Because I was writing stuff I was doing when I was 14, 15 years old. I was 100% doing it myself. I had no team, no nothing. It was just me in my basement. And Mark Byers out of Philadelphia was like, yo, I think you and Kenny would be a beast together. And I didn't even really know him like that, but I knew he did a couple of little things with Mary J. Blige here and there. So he brought them all the way down to my house in Jersey, and we would start working together on ideas. And we were really good together. Like the vibes that we were creating were really, really, really strong. Like I got was one I recently pulled up. I want to release a project called Hidden Gems.
Okay.
And it basically would be like songs that I felt were the hidden ones that people never heard of, and demos and different things. If I can get, clearances from different labels to do it. But that's one of them. It's the one that I did with him called Starlight, Starbright, or whatever. It's called Wish That I May. I'm sorry, it's called Wish That I May. And but yeah, I used to love working with him, and unfortunately he passed away. We were going to act doing a lot of stuff together. But right after the intro, we did Strung Out on Your Lovin', and then not too far later he passed away. So
okay, wow. So you're hoping one day that those songs will make the light of day.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay. Now, one of your super fans is Alex Clark. And so he says, ask him about the song I Like It by the female group Amari.
Oh wow, Alex Clark, he went to the archives. I Like It was, I want to say, hold on, I want to verify because you're taking me way back. Let's see, I Like It by Amari was that a girl group that was signed to Teddy Riley's label?
I don't know. He just said R&B group Amari.
I'm pretty sure. I gotta look it up. I'll be honest, it's been such a long time. I had so many songs, but I feel like I was in VA working under Teddy, and there was a girl group that Bink Dog was working with. Bink also was from Teddy's camp. A lot of people don't know that. Bink, the hip hop producer. And somehow I got plugged in to work with this girl group, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to.
Okay. And then he asks about talk about his unreleased rap album On the Move with your brother Fred.
Tell him he's digging a little too much now. He's digging a little too much. Don't worry about that one. He'll never hear it.
Okay. Did you? Okay. You did because you did say you.
He will never hear
it. Oh goodness. Okay.
Yeah, so I just looked it up. It wasn't Mar. It was exactly what I thought. It was I met them through Teddy Riley when I was at Teddy Riley's studio, and yeah, Amari, I like it. Yep.
Okay.
Wow. That's you're going back to my early teenage.
I said he's a super fan because he says there's a demo, You Don't Love Me, by Michael Jackson. Was there a song that you
know about? How does he know about You Don't Love Me? Like how do people know about that?
I don't know.
How do you even know about You Don't Love Me? No, You Don't Love Me was actually really, there's a lot of cool stuff, but Michael Jackson is not on You Don't Love Me.
No, he said that was Sean sang the demos, right?
Sean Daniels sang the demo, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Then he said, ask him about the unreleased song, You're the Only One for Me.
You Don't Love Me. You Don't Love Me is like, if you want to get technical about it, there's a song telling him, since he's a super fan, he'll realize this. Michael did sing on You Don't Love Me. He sang this one little ad-lib when he came to the studio. He never cut the song, but he just did his ad-lib. If you go and listen to Brandy's Full Moon album called It's Not Worth It, there's a song called It's Not Worth It. That track came from You Don't Love Me. Okay. And if you listen to It's Not Worth It, you'll hear Michael on It's Not Worth It. And it came from that session.
Oh.
So when you get a chance, check that out.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, Alex,
Brandy, in exchange, I had Brandy sing backgrounds on Unbreakable.
Oh, that's why she's listed. Okay. He said about the unreleased song, You're the Only One for Me, for Brandy.
Whoa, does he have that? I mean,
no, he says, ask him about the unreleased song, You're the Only One for Me.
Yeah, I need to hear that again. That was actually, I forgot about that one. I need to hear that. That was actually I used to love that one. I don't have that one for some reason. I don't have that. So if he has any instance into knowing where it's at, please,
Okay. But you
please,
did. How come it didn't make the
please.
album then?
Because I mean, when you're working, you're doing, sometimes you do 20 songs and you gotta end up with 14 to 15.
Okay.
And some things, cut it sonically and you just like, cut that off. That doesn't feel better than this or
Okay.
musically. But that one right, I would like to hear that one again.
Okay. And then he said
That could be one. That's actually
that's
one
actually
for me. You got me wanting to dig that up. And I don't know where that is.
And then he asks about what it was like working with Coco on that Hot Cocoa project.
Oh, it was great. I worked with Coco. We worked at Whitney Houston's house actually.
Wow.
I had her come out. To Whitney Houston's house, and that's where we started Sunshine and all of that. Yeah, it was there.
What do you think went wrong with the album, though? That it didn't get that label?
Listen, man. Listen, not all artists get the push that they need. Just, you really don't know. We think we know, but we don't know. We could make 100 different excuses. We could say the artist didn't get the push. We could say the artist this. We can blame whatever. We can blame the label. We don't know if the artist didn't show up to do certain promo when it was time.
Yeah.
You know. I remember when we were doing Full Moon, we were super excited about it, and then Brandy got pregnant and couldn't promote it. So, what I mean? I remember when we did Invincible, and Michael came in the studio one day and he showed me pretty much the movie board for his 6 singles. Like pretty much, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this and this and that. And then him and Tommy had a dispute and it changed everything.
Wow.
Nothing. He only did one video. He only did Rock and Roll. He didn't even do a video to Butterflies.
No.
It's like, when do you know Michael Jackson not to do 5 or 6 videos?
Yeah.
So you just never know what creates the certain things with albums and all of that, but whatever.
What happened? Because I thought your role was to do the entire album, and then it felt as if after he did your songs, then he just patched and just got different people just to patch it together.
No, I wasn't to do the whole album, but you're talking about Michael, right?
Yeah, Invincible, yeah.
No. I wasn't to do the whole album, but really the executive producer of that album was John McClain.
Okay.
John McClain, who worked with Janet, I think, on a lot of her stuff.
Yeah.
John had his his songs. He had his, he had already had, Butterflies and different songs or whatever that he had already brought to Michael to record. So he had stuff that he was going to do. And then like Michael had me, I did Break of Dawn with Teddy. Me and Teddy did Break of Dawn. And then I think Teddy did Heaven Can't Wait. And then another song called Whatever Happens.
Yeah.
And then I think 2,000 watts. So those
Yeah.
But it was always I would be in the studio working on some stuff for Michael, then Michael would be like, I could be in LA and Michael could have been in Virginia working with Teddy at the time I was in LA. I was still working on Michael, but he could have been cutting with somebody else for that trip. And then he'd come back and play. He'll be like, listen, song I just did with so-and-so, I play it. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that, as I said, so coming up in 2 weeks' time, we're doing Battles of Producers Part 2. And it is Timbaland versus the Neptunes versus Darkchild.
I saw that, yeah, I saw that.
And so it's going to be interesting to see the songs that we pick from. It's all in fun because you guys all
play the hits.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think because you have to do your favorite. So, I think, and it hopefully in some cases, knowing the guys I'm with, they may pick up gems that most people say, I didn't realize he did that.
And Teddy Riley was doing the verses against Babyface. The day before the verses, Babyface was on the phone with me. And he was like, what do I play? And I simply said, play the hits. Play the hits.
I
You
wish Teddy
know,
was on the call with you because if he had realized, because my disappointment that day was the fact that he forgot. I mean, if he had played Just Got Paid and Groove Me and just focus on his up tempos, because you can't go slow to slow with Babyface. I mean, you can,
can't,
yeah, let's chill and peace my
can't
love,
play.
but
That's it. You can't play slow songs with Babyface, but you also got to remember, like when I was watching it, you can't play something that you love because of the music you created, right? So, for example, I give you a perfect example. I could love, I could love one of the tracks on Full Moon that I did, like I thought or can't we? I can love it personally. I can be like,
yeah,
yo, this is one of the bangers, like that, that. I would never play it in the verses
yeah.
because it ain't about what I love. It's what did the people love?
Mm.
If you stick to it, you stick to the hits. And that's what I told Babyface when he was a little bit on like, what should I was like, yo, just play your hits. Like play 20, just play 20 hits. Really
Yeah.
simple. And when you play Can We Talk and when you play all these songs, then people start like, oh wow, he has
Yeah,
hits.
yeah, yeah.
And it was literally, if you look at it, it was like a really good verses. And it was just the last 3 to 4. Once it got around 15, 16,
Yeah.
Teddy started diverting into like production,
Yeah.
getting into like the production and stuff that we appreciate as producer, people that love the producer side.
Yeah.
But while he did that, Babyface still was playing the hits. He stuck right with the hits. And
Yeah.
he
And
he
yeah.
never left the hit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm always that's why I'm always
So,
yeah, that
so
yeah.
when you do your Darkchild Timberland,
And
there'll
Neptunes.
there's moments of you know beats. There's beats that will move people,
Yeah.
but songs is what it's about.
I mean, which five tracks would you put on if you were because this is because three is five from the three of you. So
Oh yeah, no. Let me pull up my top 30 right now. Hold on. I just did a top 30 video, and so I'll just tell you right now. I mean, I probably in the top of my head, but I would just immediately. I'm gonna say you gotta play "Say My Name" by Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
You gotta play "The Boy Is Mine" by Brandy, Monica. You have to play um, Michael Jackson's "Rock My World." You gotta play um, I mean, I'm torn between these two right here. I'm torn between Whitney Houston is not right, but it's okay, and Toni Braxton, he wasn't man enough for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And for me, I think that Tony's um is probably more of a hit that
yeah, I would go with a lesser hit. I would actually go Mary J. Blige. I Can Love You.
no, but that is a staple song. I mean, the way it
Exactly. So
starts, dum 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 dum, yeah,
exactly. So I would go with Mary J. Blige. I Can Love You, and then I would play Toni Braxton. He wasn't man enough, just because the familiarity of Last by Burna Boy makes
yeah,
us
yeah, yeah, yeah.
today. So those are the five I would choose.
What about Don't Want to Be a Player?
So I have that. Yeah, I have this on. I have that on this list, but I wouldn't play that for this.
But I think people will be surprised that actually you did that because it doesn't sound like sonically anything else that you've done.
Yeah. So I mean, if you did that, then you would go. What would you play that instead of?
Um, I think I because I know that somehow the people don't seem to like Destiny's Child. The
Say my name.
no the Destiny's Child anything Destiny's Child. I don't know. Maybe I think I don't know if there's this sense of I don't know if they enjoy Beyonce's music today. So anything that she's been associated with, it doesn't get. I mean, I do daily polls, and anytime Destiny Child's up, there's this sense of no. I don't know why. Um, but I know,
Really?
like, but I think
Yeah. My name is.
there was one you did. Is it you did the one? The, dun, 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 baby boy. No,
Oh, you talking about Deja Vu? I
oh
mentioned.
yeah.
I mentioned that one, didn't I?
No, you didn't. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. So that one is probably, that's a, the drums in that one is really, I really like the drums in
You
the.
going by you're going by production. I'm going by songs.
Yeah, no, song wise, yeah. I think song wise, Say My
Say my
Name.
name. Say my name is way bigger than Deja Vu.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is definitely, yeah. Boy is Mine. But I think for me is I Can Love You is probably my favorite
Yeah.
production. The way it just it is it's the whole vibe and everything. So I think that's yeah. But I mean, of course, as I said, but I think the other guys would try and find hidden gems that people would just like, damn, I didn't realize that. So that's the fun part
Yeah.
of this is looking for the hidden gems and stuff. Yeah. But I think yeah, that's in a couple of weeks. So once I get back from my break is to do that. Wow. I mean, yeah, oh yes, that's the thing. The final question was your thoughts on all this Burner Boy and Co. recreating and resampling. Yeah, how do you think?
Beautiful. Love it. Great job. Great.
Would you ever do that though? I mean, reproduce somebody using your resampling your stuff, or does it? Do you,
I mean, I'm not. I like what they did with it. I think they made it fresh. I think they made it cool and unique. Even though it still sounds like me though. Like if you listen to I did a song on Brandy's Never Say It Never album called You Don't Know Me. When you get a chance, listen to You Don't Know Me on Brandy's Never Say Never. It's literally that same beat as Burner Boy's Last Last.
Hmm.
Literally. It's literally the same style. Um, but I like what they did to it. I thought I thought they did a good job.
He
And
did another one. I can't.
they did Sitting on Top of the World too.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, Rodney, I appreciate that you kept that you took your time and stuff and it's definitely always great to talk to you and to celebrate what you've been up to because I guess we see what's happening in the industry, we see what's even happening to people like Justin, and we realize that actually it isn't easy to stand your faith and stand your ground with your faith in this industry and the enemy not trying to find ways to take you down. We definitely continue to pray for you, especially as you continue to shine your light in a dark place. That's it's not an easy industry. I mean, the reason why I'm in the UK and not still in the US is because the 3 or 4 months I worked at Edmunds Entertainment, um, the Lord was saying, yeah, if you stay here any longer, you won't live longer. And I didn't know what I was getting into. Um, so I know for you to continue to be a light in that industry, it takes a lot of faith and prayer. And that's probably why you're in that season of withdrawing, because the Lord knows that if He's taking you further, He needs to make sure that that you can listen.
That's right.
Elijah, when he was talking to Elijah, and it's like, "Are you in the thunder? Are you in the storm?" And it was like, "No," in the whisper. To be able to hear that
Right.
takes a lot.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're
So we'll
right.
keep praying for you, and I appreciate your time and congrats on being inducted. I know it's just the beginning of bigger and better things as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and I want to thank Brandy. I think she, as a Beyonce, she's
I got
still on.
my alert set, so I'll be watching you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're excited for this one.
I might chime in the chat if you play something that you should play.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't worry. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. You know, when you did say, "Hey," I thought you were actually getting the Beyonce to join in, and I was like, man, Queen B is going to be part of the interview. But then, I was serious. I told her because I was like, "What?
Still a queen. Still a queen.
Yeah, she's still a queen. I
She's
thought
a
it was
queen.
Queen Bee. I'm like, wow, man, he's taking it to another level and stuff. So, so I appreciate it, and I also appreciated the fact that you hooked me up with Stanley, an amazing guy,
He's a
and
great
stuff.
guy.
As yourself, Stanley, Juan Campbell, you know, Christians in the industry still trying to shed the light. So we need to keep praying for you guys.
Oh, no, I appreciate that.
Yes.
How do you get fired for something you didn't do? Well, that's a question for my mother to answer. But like she said, everything's a blessing.
Isaac, are you listening to me, sweetheart? The piano teacher will be here any minute. Make me proud, baby.
I will, Mommy.
Okay, show me piano fingers.
And that's when the music started.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between
us, or even loving us, on which I did miss you.
What was it like growing up?
she's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They understand what those boys do when they all
Play it.
These guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.